And we are back. And we just finished watching 2010. This came out in 2010.
12 years old movie. Wow.
Damn. 2010's Inception, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 28 minutes. This was written and directed by Christopher Nolan, and this is one of his better storytelling outings. This is absolutely, from start to finish, compelling storytelling with amazing world building and just really interesting characters throughout.
Yeah, I like this one. Nolan seems to like making sort of like puzzle type movies.
Yeah.
Like Memento and The Prestige and Inception and
to some point Tenet, yeah.
Tenet was
garbage,
like
but
a really terrible bad puzzle. Like
yeah.
That he's like, how could I make a film more confusing than Inception? Okay, let's do this.
Hold my beer.
Tenet bull crap.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not his greatest,
but
this,
Inception's good. It's
yeah.
like it's. I understand why people got confused by it. I always understood what was going on, but
this one isn't as crazy and murky as Tenet. Like, this is pretty much straightforward.
Tenet was stupid and didn't make sense.
Fair enough. I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. I'm going to start with you, Gigi. What did you think of this film?
I thought it was interesting.
You thought it was interesting? Did you have a favorite character in this?
No.
What about it was interesting?
Just a little premise, like being able to go into people's dreams and influence them.
That would probably not be a good thing to have in the real world.
God, no.
I mean, honestly, that's what they're trying to head to with this whole metaverse thing. In 15 years, people are going to be so divorced from reality.
Yeah.
They're just not. I mean, they're pretty bad now with the internet as it is, and it's just looking at stuff while you're sitting in the real world.
Right.
Now you're going to strap some goggles onto your head and
really disconnect.
Really just disconnect.
Yeah.
And seriously, people are just going to be like, they're going to take the goggles off and they're going to be really disappointed that they don't really have cat ears and tails and and what the big
devastated.
Yeah, they're going to be just devastated when they wake up and they realize they're not
a furry
or the big fat guy is secretly not a giant 6-breasted prostitute or something. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's going to get
for everything.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's rein it back in, because while that is absolutely on the horizon for everyone, this is kind of like a precursor for all of that. There's a lot of really interesting effects where the buildings sort of fold into themselves. If you've seen the first Doctor Strange, you've seen that effect in it, and I remember the first time seeing this and just being like, wow, that is impressive.
They definitely did. They did not spare any expense on the special effects, and they made like a set of rules about how things
that
are
universe
set up.
Works. Yeah,
and it worked. It made sense that there would be an architect, and that person's sole job would basically to be the person to build the world. And then there's the other person whose subconscious fills the world, and all these other people are doing their own little jobs.
Little pieces, to the puzzle.
And it all worked nicely together. And it's a pretty clever premise that this guy would set up this business where you could steal secrets from somebody's subconscious just by somehow managing to connect to them through this machine or whatever that they had that would allow them to like link dreams.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever. And it must be something that's so commonplace that these heads of corporations are getting training on how not to be
fall under that stuff.
Yeah. Not to be fooled by this.
Yeah. From start to finish, this is really just outstanding storytelling. This isn't like your run-of-the-mill. This isn't a property that's been done multiple times. I don't believe this was based on a book. I think this was like an original idea that Nolan had.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's pretty impressive about it was that he was given the ability to do this. I think it was because Batman and the Dark Knight did so phenomenally well that the studio was just like,
here was money.
Here's just a truck of money.
Yeah,
do whatever you want. And he hit it out of the park with this. People went nuts for this movie and made God knows how much money. So to do that with an original property in this day and age is impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the actors, let's talk about it. Wow. I gotta be honest, I can take or leave Leonardo DiCaprio, but when he is on, he is freaking on. And he is on in this film. I feel like.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, love him. Love everything that he's in. He's not a major character here, but still part of this ensemble and an important player in this team. Elliot Page, phenomenal. Ken Watanabe, fantastic. Tom Hardy, he always chews up the scenery. I love. I mean, that guy, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't do enough, but maybe that's good because then he's not overexposed, right? Dileep Rao, who was the guy that they met who was driving the van. He's great. It was funny because I said, oh, he was in Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell, yeah.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
As Fisher. Fantastic, outstanding. It was nice to see Tom Berenger.
I know.
Even though you don't see him very much in stuff. So, yeah, just...
What are you talking about? Isn't he on Westworld?
I swear to God, that Helmsworth really does. I'm like, he's not Tom Berenger's son. He really does look more like Tom Berenger than Owen Helmsworth. But anyway, just top to bottom, like really strong actors, really strong performances, really interesting story. I mean, this is, I can't talk enough about this. What about you, Olive G? What'd you think?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
I don't know. It was very confusing.
Well, we took breaks to explain stuff. But tell me what you thought about the ending.
Do you think that Cobb is in the real world, or is he still dreaming?
Yes, I think he's in the real world.
Okay.
I think he's in the real world, too.
What makes you think that this is the real world?
Because, wouldn't his, wife be there?
Well, his wife killed herself.
Yeah, so she wouldn't be in the real world because
she's saying if he was dreaming, wouldn't his wife be there?
Yeah. Oh, right. No, you're right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, then there's that whole scene where he basically says, "I have to let you go."
Right.
The one thing I kind of veer on the side that he's in the real world, but the one thing about it that makes me think he's still dreaming is the fact that his kids have never aged.
Yeah, well, that was kind of weird, though.
How long has he not seen his children?
I don't know.
Because they are always that age. Even in his memories, they are the same age, same haircut.
Yeah.
I think they're even wearing the same clothes every
They
time.
are wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
They're playing
They're like
the exact
ghosts.
same
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that makes me think that he never woke up and that everything has been a dream since that he is still
deep in it.
He is still deep in there with Maul, but she actually has woken up.
Wait, so you still think he's in
there isn't, I mean, like I said, I'm laying out the argument that maybe he really is there. That if he would have jumped when she jumped, then he would have woken up. But then again, he put that idea in her head and made her crazy. Mm-hmm. We're giving away spoilers, but it's a 12-year-old movie. If you haven't seen Inception yet, this is your fault.
Yeah, seriously. And why haven't you, goddammit? That's such a good movie.
I know, it's been parodied to hell.
Yeah. Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty did it.
I'm sure other media has also glommed off it.
Yeah. But that is the only thing that makes me think that he's still dreaming, because
so then in that scenario, Maul would have been right.
Maul would have been right, and she actually escaped the dream world, and he's still there, and none of those people exist.
I mean, that's possible because that technology really doesn't exist. No.
I'm not saying that the technology they used to link together, him and Maul lived in that world. They created. They lived there for 50 years or something like that.
That's what he said. Yeah.
But he wanted to leave, so he planted in her mind. He incepted her. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of the movie. Inception is putting an idea in someone's head rather than stealing information. You're putting it in there and having that person believe it. Mm-hmm. And Cobb believed that he did that to the point where Maul could never accept whatever reality she was in was real. Mm-hmm. And she would always want to kill herself because of it.
Right.
But maybe he was wrong about that. Maybe she was right. Like I said, it's just strange that the kids never age. And the only thing I could think of to explain that is he hasn't really been away that long.
Right. Well, I was going to say,
we are never given a time
frame. Yeah.
As far as how long Cobb has been a fugitive.
Right.
and all of this. We honestly, we don't know. I mean, his kids.
It could be 6 months.
It could have been 6 months, in which case the kids wouldn't have aged.
Right.
Or they would have aged, but
not much.
Not by much.
Right.
So who knows? You can't tell by the top because it looks like it's going to fall over at the end. But
and then you just don't know.
Just cut to the credits.
Yeah. I mean, it's very clever on Nolan's part because I think that's part of it. Yeah. It's like just the ambiguity of like, well, is this real or is this not real? And you know what? I agree with you. I mean, that's also a possibility that he's actually the one that's trapped in the dream state.
Yeah. I mean, his Maul in his mind presents some interesting arguments. What a bunch of nameless corporations are hunting you.
Right.
Then you're always escaping and you're one step. It's kind of dreamlike.
Yeah.
And we're in a movie, so people just pop into scenes. It's just like, one of the questions is, how do you remember how you got here? Who the hell knows how they got it? Where was Cobb's base of operations? Where was this university that Michael Caine worked at? Yeah. And yet somehow he was also in America with the kids.
Yeah.
Who was watching the kids in America? They said the mother.
His mother, I guess.
Is it Cobb's mother, Maul's mother?
I'm assuming
is Michael Caine Cobb or Maul's son?
I don't think they're related. I think that they're just friends.
I think Michael Caine is their grandfather to those kids.
You think so?
He literally says that in the movie.
He says that in the movie.
What the hell?
You know, that was a verbally expressed detail.
Yes.
Where? At the end?
No,
when they're talking.
When he's talking to the old man about the girl, the architect, and he wants to see his kids. He brings up that he's
because when he's talking to Tom Hardy, he's like talking about him, and he's like, "Oh, you're still hanging around with that old fart," kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Well, he's the best at that." I don't know.
He says that he's the grandfather.
If you need to go back and watch that,
I may have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while since I watched it.
But either way, he's at the house there, or he's actually at the airport picking him up.
Yeah.
But yet he's also a professor at a school in whatever European country. France, because he said there's the extradition was murky or something like that. Right. And there was a lot of cafes. I didn't see any guys in striped shirts carrying baguettes.
No.
Wasn't that stereotypical?
Yeah. And I never saw the Eiffel Tower in the background anywhere.
Also, no one was making out in the middle of the street.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And then yelling at each other. Yes. And then making out and yelling.
Yes. Pointing guns at each other.
Ratatouille.
Like Ratatouille. She
that was great.
Almost shoots that guy.
He's like, go ahead, and then all of a sudden they're making out.
Passion. So,
I mean, you bring up some interesting points. I mean, I hadn't even thought of that. I mean, I always thought that he was in the real world, and I thought it was the filmmaker's intention to purposely put that at the end to make you kind of doubt that.
I mean, no, it's there. He definitely makes that ending so that you are questioning what is going on.
Right.
But you have evidence to and for it.
Sure.
It's really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the stronger Nolan films. Absolutely.
Like, I feel he's in the real world. But then there's, like I just said, there is this evidence. And for me, the strongest evidence is the fact that the kids
never aged.
They never age. They're always doing the same exact thing, kneeling with each other. And
in the grass. They're in the exact same spot.
Same spot, same clothes.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Just that they're like the brood children, the blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he finally sees their face.
But that's the thing. He sees their face at the end, which would make me think, okay, so now we're in reality. Because he was preventing himself from seeing their faces in the dream world.
Why was that? Because he didn't want to get attached to his children in the dream world?
I think it would have made him not want to leave.
Okay.
It was something that he was like...
Plus she was there. So.
It was basically something to prevent him from wanting to stay. And he was like, he definitely had a weakness there for that, because he should have just shot her.
Yeah.
That scene where she...
Seriously?
Before she shoots Fisher.
Bastard.
Yeah.
I
mean, that guy should have stayed in limbo. Bye.
Cobb wasn't your favorite character, G?
He was my least favorite character.
Yeah.
He's acting like an idiot.
Actually,
Just
my
shoot her.
favorite character was Arthur. That guy knew how to
Loved
get
Arthur.
stuff done.
Arthur was great, yeah. And that's JGL did a great job with that because it's like he doesn't have the most lines. He doesn't really do the most things, but he's charming.
Yeah, he's an
and
MVP
he's capable, and he's just always there and loyal and doing what needs to be done.
I also liked Eames, played by Tom Hardy. I thought Eames and Arthur were like the stronger characters.
Yeah, Eames was like a bit of a more roguish, funnier Arthur.
Sure.
And Eames was, I believe, his strength was that he was more creative.
Sure.
Like he was like, sometimes you have to dream big, darling, or something like that.
Yeah,
and he pulls out that cannon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked Eames as well. I think I liked Arthur better.
Yeah. I did like that guy too, though.
Interesting. In IMDb, there is a Philippa 3 years old, and there's a Philippa 5 years old. I couldn't tell the difference.
Maybe they do age.
Yeah. There's two different
proof
actresses.
just dissolved.
Yeah. Well, according to IMDb.
Well, there you go.
Interesting.
Just debunked your theory.
And there's a James 3 years old, and there's a James 20 months old.
What? That doesn't make sense. Oh, wait. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. But they look so, I mean, seriously.
It didn't look like they aged much.
Did they use...
It did not look
Did they use the one set? Maybe...
Did they use the same actors?
No. According
What
to
the
IMDb,
hell?
there's two different
They
kids
look exactly
at each.
the
It felt
same.
to me like the kids were the same each time.
It did. I mean, they were wearing similar clothing. You know what? Maybe it was similar, but not identical.
I mean, Nolan is big on details.
Like that.
You have to analyze stuff with a microscope
Yeah.
and his things to like catch the clues and whatnot. He's sort of like he's better at it than like say J.J. Abrams.
Oh,
J.J. Abrams loves his puzzle boxes, but Nolan is like the puzzle box times 10.
And another fun fact about this film: the children at the end are brother and sister, and the younger version, the girl, is related to them. So they're all siblings, which is kind of smart casting because then you keep that continuity because siblings will look similar.
Maybe the kids at the end were the older ones. I mean, the kids at the end would have had to have been the older ones. But Jesus Christ, they look so freaking similar.
Yeah. But the two girls are sisters. So they're related. The older boy is related to the two girls, but the younger boy is his own entity. I mean, obviously they were their own individual little people, but
I mean, the younger kids didn't really matter because you never see their faces.
Yeah. You always get them from the back, which was very bizarre. That was also another interesting little thing about the story, right?
Well, I mean, it made sense.
It did. It did.
Seriously, if you could live in this dream and have your wife and your children.
But then no one would ever age. That's weird, no?
But they did age.
I guess, yeah.
They turned into old people.
I mean, they aged in the real world for sure, but did they age? Oh no, they did age in the dream world because
the scene where they were
old and holding hands.
Holding hands.
Yeah, that's true. But were there children there? It seemed like they just lived there alone. Like I wouldn't want to do that.
Well, the thing is, they were in limbo. So they would go to sleep for a half hour. They were there for 50 years.
Right.
All of that could have happened in one afternoon, an afternoon nap. They could have lived a lifetime.
Yeah.
Gotten trapped, did all this stuff.
I know, but that's...
Incept his wife.
But that's the thing. Like, in the dream world, it seemed like they were, like, the last two people on Earth.
Yeah, there was nobody else there.
Right.
It was like living in this empty thing. Yeah,
and it was pretty. They created, like, this great... like environment, but it was like there's no one there to share it with, and as a mother, I wouldn't want to be there without my children. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like that's weird to me.
I guess did they ever mention the children in those flashbacks?
No,
because I'm guessing maybe the children came after they woke up from creating.
Maybe she created them in that world in his subconscious to kind of lure him in.
No, but that doesn't make sense. Well, if he's in the real world at the end of the movie, then There are children.
No, there are children, but I'm saying
You're not gonna.
When he's in that scene where he's confronting her towards the end, and she's like, "You know that I'm reality, and even your children are here," and she calls them, right? It could have been that she did it to lure him, but it's funny because it's basically him himself, right? He is acting as Maul to try to get him to come back, to stay in the place that she's at so that they could be together. Yeah. So it's not even a Maul, really.
No, it's him. It's his guilt.
It's him. It's his guilt, right?
It's definitely a pretty complex movie, and
there's a
reason why people talk about it as much as they do and analyze it as much as they do, because
there's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's really, really well done. If you haven't seen it, go now and get on HBO Max, which is where we saw it, right?
Yeah.
And definitely check it out. I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. Olive G, did I ask you who your favorite character was?
Well, I didn't like any of the characters.
No. Did you have a favorite scene?
Probably when they were in the second phase or...
Oh, at the hotel?
Yeah. And Charles, what's his name was?
Arthur.
Arthur was beating the crap out of those people.
That was a great sequence.
Everything was spinning.
Yeah. Arthur was the MVP in this. Yeah. Arthur and Eames. I liked Eames a lot, at least for me.
I think Arthur was
the bee's knees,
the MVP. He was the guy who was
held it all
together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 1 to 10, Olive G, what'd you think?
I'd give this movie a 7.
A 7? Gigi?
I'd probably give it a 7.5.
7.5. I am going to give this an 8.75.
I'd probably give it a 8.5 or a 9.
8.5 or 9. I'm going to go to 8.75. I thought about giving it a 9, but I was like, maybe 8.75.
No, you know what? I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay.
A flat 9. I like this movie a lot. And the thing is, that's funny. I've only seen it in its entirety twice.
Yeah.
And this being the second time.
I was going to say, but this might be the second or third time I've seen it.
I've seen
chunks
segments
of
it. Yeah. When it's on cable.
Yeah.
And it's always entertaining, and I love the whole concept, and I love the way they did the dream world. Yeah. I think probably the only movie that I think handled the weirdness of dreams better is probably Eternal Sunshine. Eternal Sunshine, seriously, that's a perfect movie film. Really gets on film what dreams are like. Yeah. It's so weird, and your background's changing, environments changing, words being unreadable, people's faces changing. Everything in that movie was, at least that's how I dream. My dreams are a mess. Yeah. Yeah. I never have some straight narrative dream where it's and also lucid. What an interesting way to tell a love story, right? Yeah. We'll talk about that movie on another show. Yeah. Yeah. So 7, 9, 8.75, 7, 7.5, and 7. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I gotta be honest, I didn't think that my children would enjoy it. I had no faith. I thought G would like it a lot. I'm surprised Olive liked it as much as she would. But I think it helped that we paused to explain stuff. Yeah. Because I think at one point she was like, what am I watching? She was ready to check out. Yeah. That was smart of you to ask to pause it, yeah. So for a kid's gonna need some guidance through this one. Yeah, yeah. I think for the older high schoolers, I think they can figure it out, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, you go from point A to point B, and once you know the rules, there's a lot of stuff to pay attention to. There's a lot of detail, but if you're willing to pay attention and get the rules down, it makes absolute sense, and it's great. Yeah, yeah. So again, if you haven't seen it, go on over to HBO Max and check out Inception from 2010. Yeah, hurry up because with HBO Max, you never know if it's going to be around. Rated PG-13 with a runtime. PG-13. Yeah. I guess for the violence or shooting or. Yeah. I guess. Okay. I was going to say there wasn't. I don't remember there being curse words or anything it's or nudity. Be a PG movie. That's for damn sure. No. PG is children's movies now.
I mean, but there's nothing. What's objectionable in this film?
People are being killed left and right.
But are they? Because are they even real? And even when you get shot in the dream, it's not like you die.
It doesn't matter. It's violence. It's bloody violence.
All
People
right.
are being shot and bleeding.
All right. Inception, 2010, PG-13, runtime of 2 hours and 28 minutes. It's not a short film, but
it's worth it.
It's worth it. It moves fairly quickly, and the story is compelling, and the actors are all phenomenal. And this is Nolan at his best. Go check it out. And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
Good night.
good night.